والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Alhamdulillah, this is a great community. It has a great shape, and I praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for having him in our lives and our communities, sharing from his knowledge and from his guidance, not only here to Tucson, but all over Arizona and other places as well beyond. May Allah extend his life, may Allah preserve him with us, and may his teachings, inshallah, be spread all over more and more. Ya Rabbil Alameen. We're gathered to talk a few things about the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, and I'm going to try to make this short, no more than 45 minutes.
They already left. Take your time.
Says they already left yet. So I'm not going to ask questions. It's not going to be like questions and answers, but it's going to be a participation. And it's going to be more like a participation, where I'm going to, for example, I'm going to give a thought out there, and I want you to think about it, analyze it, and be able to come up and say, you know what, this is what I think the case may be. And it's all about one subject. That is about love of the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. We were earlier talking about love of the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. Sheikh asked Haneen earlier, do you love the Prophet? Why you love him? And I want to just go around that question. Why do we love the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam? And first, before I get into a discussion with you, I want to bring to you a very famous hadith that a lot of you are familiar with. If you remember, during the life of the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, one of the Sahabas, Sayyidina Umar, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he said, Ya Rasulullah, he said, I love you more than anything else. And he starts listing, except myself, he says. Except myself. When the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam heard him say that, he responded back by saying, no, he said. In other words, what you were just mentioning earlier, it is not right. It is not the right conviction. It is not the right approach of love. And he gave him the answer. He gave him some instructions to tell him that this is the right way of preserving your love or elevating your love towards me. He said that I have to be more beloved to you than even yourself. Right? Who heard this hadith before? So most of you have heard this hadith before. I believe that many of us struggle to make this reality in our lives. True or not? Let's be honest. Many of us struggle to make this as a part of reality in our lives. Why? Because this dunya has been presented to us in such a way that it is hard for us to leave what the dunya offers. And it is very hard for us to sacrifice everything for the sake of God. It is very hard for us, forget about sacrificing, to overcome or overfill our hearts, our feelings, with the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the love of His Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. And unfortunately, many people around the world, they claim that we love the Nabi, we love Allah, we love the Message, we do this. But the actions, they speak louder by going against their own words. Like, you love Allah, but at the same time, you do ma'asiyah. The poet says, بل ذاك في المقال شنيع لو كان حبك صادقا لأطعته إن المحب لمن يحب مطيع. Right? The one who loves another person becomes obedient towards that person that he loves. So in this case, for example, if we all claim to love Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, we would obey what he came up with. And what Muslims do, unfortunately, nowadays, and I'm not saying that I'm the best, I'm probably a part of all of that. You know, we're all far away from where we should be. How do you know? Well, if we would have been close to where we should be, then our situation would not be at where it is. Right? We would be in a different situation. We would be in a situation where, remember Sahabas? They went into the Persian Empire and they conquered Persia. They went into so many other countries, and they conquered those countries not necessarily by sword, but by their hearts. Malaysia didn't get conquered by swords. India did not get conquered by swords. And many other countries. I'm mentioning some major countries that has millions and millions of people. Not a country like mine where I come from with only 3 million people, Albania. So, we are being conquered nowadays, right? Nowadays we're being conquered. Look at the Muslim countries, we're suffering everywhere, right and left. People who are being murdered than any other people around the world are Muslims. That's very simple. So, anyways, I want to go back to this again and say, if that's the case, if we claim to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, look, love the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, first and foremost, why do we love him? Again, this is the question that I want to raise. Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu expressed this love to him. How did he express it? Who can tell me how Sayyidina Abu Bakr expressed love towards the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam? From his life, from his seerah, anybody can share with me. Let me just, yes.
At the cave of Thor, he used to put his finger on the hole so that to protect the Arafat will not be stinged by a scorpion or enemy.
SubhanAllah. So Sayyidina Abu Bakr, during the time when he migrated with the Prophet in the Thor, he expressed that by covering those holes that were around the cave. And one of the reasons for that too was perhaps for the idol worshippers not to see them, because if there is light inside the cave, they can easily see, but if it's all dark, it's very hard to see what's inside the cave as well. So he was taking pieces of his own clothes, ripping it off and filling up those holes. MashaAllah, that's an expression in action, right, of that love. What else? Yes.
Always give what he has.
Always gave whatever he has. He gave all of his wealth. That's also another expression of love. And during the time of migration, when he went, and Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam to the house of Sayyidina Abu Bakr, he said, the time for migration came. And he said, will I be your companion, Ya Rasulullah? He said, yes, you will be my companion. At that point, when he heard that he was going to be his companion, he started crying like a little child. And Sayyidatuna Aisha, she is the one who narrates the hadith, and she says that لم أرى رجل يبكي لأجل الفرح مثل ما رأيت أبي سيدنا أبو بكر رضي الله عنه يبكي أمام النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام رضي الله تعالى عنه وأرضاه. This is how they express this love. These are just some of the expressions, and the list goes on. How Sayyidina Ali expresses love, how Sayyidina Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah, right? The way how he expresses love. And Abu Dujana by becoming the body shield in the battle of Uhud. Body shield. Like he had nothing to fight, but he was just protecting the body of the Prophet with his own body. And the arrows were going one after another, one after another. And the list goes on. Sayyidina Bilal al-Habashi, who was a slave before he died, he was in the deathbed. غدا نلتقي محمد وأصحابه, he says. His wife was saying, Ya wayla, oh, what's happening to my husband? He's passing away. It's really, it's heavy. And he was saying, Ya farha. Ya wayla, she was saying, he was saying, Ya farha. Tomorrow I'm going to meet Sayyidina Muhammad alayhi salatu with his companions and his company. In the deathbed, people are all lost at that point. People are all in pain, He's not thinking about pain. He's not thinking about death or anything like that. He's thinking about being with his beloved, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This is the description of the Sahabas. Where are we at? Where are we at? So, what is the reason why we love the Prophet? What are some of the reasons that we can start? I want you to think about this. Why do you love the Nabi? Yes.
He's our Savior.
He's our Savior. How?
In many ways, during our life, he taught us what's good, what's bad, and if we follow that, we will never deviate. And in the akhirah, He protect us from hell. Inshallah.
So in the hereafter, instead of saying that He will protect us from the hellfire, I would reword that. And I would say that He's going to be the one who will intercede on our behalf. Yashfa. Right? Yashfa. And Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam will be Sahib al-Shafa'a as well. And there is a hadith that comes to us from Sayyidina Abdullah bin Amr bin al-As radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم تلا قول الله تعالى في إبراهيم رب إنهن أضللن كثيرا من الناس فمن تبعني فإنه مني ومن عصاني فإنك غفور رحيم. وقال عيسى عليه السلام إن تعذبهم فإنهم عبادك وإن تغفر لهم فإنك أنت العزيز الحكيم. فرفع يديه النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام رفع يديه وقال اللهم أمتي وبكى فقال اللهم أمتي وبكى فقال الله عز وجل يا جبريل اذهب إلى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وربك أعلم فاسأله ما يبكيك. فأتاه جبريل عليه السلام فسأله فأخبره رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بما قال وهو أعلم. فقال الله يا جبريل اذهب إلى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم فقل إنا سنرضيك في أمتك ولا نسوءك. وهذا الحديث حديث صحيح. This is an authentic hadith that talks about Prophet Muhammad. In the summary, very quickly, it talks about Prophet Muhammad ﷺ asking for his ummah and also crying as he is directing his prayers to God. Right? As he's directing the prayers to God about you and me and all of the ummah. Right? He's crying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And right here you see a sincerity in the dua. Sincerity in the dua. He's not just saying like, Allahumma ummati, Allahumma la. He's crying. And at the end, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through Jibreel alayhi salam, tells him that we are going to save them. We're going to save them. There will be no worry. Don't worry about it. This will be taken care of. So going back to what Abu Kumayr was saying earlier, that the Nabi alayhi salam will be our intercessor and he will be somebody who will enable through the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for our place to be in Jannah and for our intercession to take place. So if somebody is going to be the one to make your case for your eternity, not just in this world, because this world is so short. If somebody gives you a car and says like, here are the keys, here it is, Habib, what do you say? You say thank you, man. You love that person. You never forget that for the rest of your life. How about if somebody is becoming your shafi'ah, right? Your intercessor for eternity, ila al-abad, right? Ila al-abad. Wouldn't you love this person? Huh? Wouldn't you love this person? So that's why this is number one, right? We love the Nabi alayhi salam because he is our intercessor on the day of judgment. What is another point that you want to share with me? Anybody else has another point? Rahmah. So we love him because he is Rahmah. He is a source of mercy. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. And Nabi alayhi salam taught us how to love Allah. Introduced to us Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We love him because he connected us with our Creator. He introduced to us, if it is not for Nabi alayhi salam, we would be in dalal. Right? We would be in dalal. But it is he who introduced us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, if somebody does something amazing like that, wouldn't you love that person? In the Quran it says, regarding this point that I just mentioned, in the Quran it says, Sayyidina Ibrahim and Sayyidina Ismail alayhi salam, when they finished building the Kaaba, they said what? رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. Right. And then after that they said, وَابْعَثْ فِيهِمْ, right? رَسُولًا مِنْهُمْ يتلو عليهم آياتك ويعلمهم الكتاب وَالْحِكْمَةَ وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ. Bring forth among them a prophet, a messenger, who's going to teach them your book. This was the dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail, the dua of coming to of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, their dua. يُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ. He will teach them the book, the revelation that came down, the Quran, and the hikmah. The hikmah is what? What is hikmah? The wisdom. The wisdom, not how to earn more money in dollars, how to create more accounts, and how to play with stocks. The wisdom, how to apply in the best possible way the Quran and the Sunnah in your life. Why? Because this is the most important thing. And everything else comes as a secondary. Alright? Because why do I say this? The moment you say to somebody out there, شو الحكمة? What is the hikmah? شو هي الحكمة? Hikmah? طبعا, somebody's going to tell you is knowing how to have good relations with people, knowing how to answer smartly, knowing how to make money, how to get out of situations and this and that. Put all of that down. First hikmah is the hikmah from the Quran and the Sunnah, how to apply your deen in the best possible way, how to avoid the extremes. People often end up in extremes. Extreme in practicing religion and extreme in not practicing religion. It's very hard to maintain that balance. So يُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ. We talked about hikmah, and then وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ. He purifies them. Purification. يعني تزكية النفس والقلوب تطهير. All of these concepts. Why? Because this dunya gets us very dirty inside. Just as our body gets dirty, our souls, our hearts, they get dirty as well. So Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam was somebody who taught us how to purify ourselves. So again, if it is not for Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, we would not know about our God, we would not know the wisdom, and we would not know how to purify ourselves either. So that's why we love him, because he's somebody who did that. Now, yes. قُلْ أَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُوا الرَّسُولَ, right? So, another reason why we love him is that he loved you. And I'm going to close it with this. I don't want to make it more. I have a lot to talk about, but I don't want to make it any longer because we also have the food tonight here. عن سيدنا أنس رضي الله تعالى عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وددت أني لقيت إخواني. فقال أصحاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم، قال سيدنا أنس رضي الله عنه، فقال أصحاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أوليس نحن إخوانك؟ قال أنتم أصحابي ولكن إخواني الذين آمنوا بي ولم يروني. رواه الإمام أحمد في مسلم. So you have this beautiful hadith that Sayyidina Anas bin Malik narrates, and Imam Malik in his Musnad has also compiled it there, where the Nabi ﷺ is expressing his love for his brothers. He says, I miss my brothers. Perhaps English language would not do justice to translate Arabic words, like for example, wood. You have wood, you have hub, you have this and that. So English is very, but let's just say, right, that I missed my brothers and sisters. And now, when he says this, he is present in a group of the companions. These companions are the ones who fought with him, and for his message. These are the ones who gave everything they had. Wouldn't these be his brothers? For sure. But look what he says. He says, no, he says. It's because they said, aren't we your brothers, Ya Rasul? Alasna ikhwanik? He says, La, antum ashabi, he says. You are my companions. In other words, he's still keeping them very high. He's not, right? He's antum ashabi. Mubashirina bil Jannah as well, many of them. But he said, antum ashabi, he said. My brothers, he says, will be the ones who will come after me, that they will believe in me, even though they would not be able to see me. Those are my brothers. We have not seen the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam at least in our Some of us, alhamdulillah, are blessed in the dream at least, right, to see him. But we didn't have a chance to see him and to live with him in a physical form, right? But he still loves us, and we are his brothers. He considers us as his brothers, and he says that I miss them, I miss them with love. Wadidtu right here is love. I miss them with love, because you have the word wud that is being mentioned here. Wud is even higher than hub. Hub is to love somebody. Wud is to love somebody without a condition. It's even higher than hub. So he's using this word wadidtu, ikhwani, he says. I have missed them, but also expressing his love with this missing part. Like I'm missing them, and I'm also, missing them out of love for these brothers of mine. So we just mentioned 3 very simple points. And as I said, there are so many others. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who love Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, not because simply we say we love him, but there is a conviction in our hearts and our minds, and that conviction results in actions, right? That conviction, all of this what we're talking about, if it is not followed with our actions, with our deeds, it remains just a poetry. It remains in our tongues. If it does not translate in our actions, it remains in our tongues. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who also embody these qualities, and they reflect these convictions in their actions as well. And their actions are hand to hand with the injunctions that they come in the Quran and in the beautiful tradition of our blessed and beloved Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. استغفر الله العظيم الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you very much, Imam Umar. May Allah reward you and accept from you. May Allah put us together with حضرة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أخوان على سرور متقابلين. Ameen Allahumma ameen. Thank you very much, my dear brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining us in this beautiful night of Mawlid Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and happy birthday of Mawlid Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And barakallahu fikum wa ila multaqan qadim inshallah ta'ala. الآن تفضلوا إلى العشاء.